Small business sacrifices, an internet interruption, and a pool table prodigy. We're covering it all today. For CNET Student News, I'm Carl Azus. We begin in North Dakota, where residents are bracing for what could be record-setting floods. Back in 1997, the Red River rose up to 39.5 feet in Fargo, the state's most populated city. But the record came in 1897, when the river reached 40.1 feet. The National Weather Service predicts the floodwaters could top that level this weekend. We reported that the National Guard and FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, are helping prepare for the severe weather. Josh Levs reports on the city's unique flood wall.
This is actually a website about it right here from Flood Control America called floodcontrolam.com. I'll trace you through what it's about, but I would like to start off with some video of North Dakota in 1997. Let's go to that because I want everyone to see how serious this is, what we're talking about. This is how bad it got at the time, and we're told 11 people died in the Dakotas and Minnesota, more than $4 billion in damages. Something needed to be done. That's why that area was one of the first in the country to get this, what you see in the next video, which is this invisible flood control wall. We have some photos there, and what you're seeing there is the horizontal planks actually lift out. So at any time when the area is expecting to get a flood, they're able to take these horizontal planks and drop them into the base. It's a concrete foundation and a metal sill plate, and then they can make those horizontal planks any length, and apparently it can be enough to help sometimes withstand the flooding. We have one more video here that shows you how it's put on, and all this comes from this website. It's very interesting, and there has been some success. In fact, quickly, let's zoom in on the board. I want to show everyone one thing right here. There was an independent study here called Mitigation Success Stories. FEMA links to this, and they do say that there are parts of the Dakotas, for example in Fargo, where it was credited with protecting a high school, protecting part of a neighborhood as well. Now, ultimately, how bad it could get in this case, I can't tell you. I don't want to send out the message, okay, everybody, you're safe.
Right.
But the fact is, this invisible flood control wall that lifts out, lets you have a view, then when the flood's coming, they drop in those planks, that has been credited with helping in the past.
As North Dakota braces for that severe weather, a number of organizations are getting ready to provide volunteers, food, and supplies to the residents who are in the flood's path. If you want to find out how you can take part, go to cnn.com/impact and learn how you can impact your world.
Is this legit? Around half of the companies in the U.S. are considered small businesses. Nope, it's a lot more than that. 99.7% of U.S. companies are small businesses.
And many of them are struggling right now. Government bailouts you hear about are usually for major corporations like AIG or GM. But President Obama has pledged to help small businesses too by working with banks to give smaller companies loans. He says it'll be a long-term effort. Carol Costello explores how some small business owners are making do in the meantime.
Forget about a big fat check from Uncle Sam. Here, survival means a bailout of a different kind. For Accutech Photo Machining, it means owner Paul Gemolero is cutting his pay in half, from $75,000 to less than $40K. Also, he can pay his employees.
Well, there was no credit available for us. And, the bills keep piling up. So, and a lot of people that work here are my friends, so that makes it more difficult. But, they're loyal to me, and they help me through the tough times. So, I have to return the loyalty.
His employees are not just thankful, but willing to work even harder.
It's amazing. I don't know anybody else really who would do that because, you have your own responsibilities for your own family. It's very difficult to go from making money to making nothing.
Gemolero isn't alone in his generosity. According to a December study done by office supply retailer Staples, 50% of small business owners have cut their own salaries to avoid layoffs. Meg Hagley, who owns High Point Cafe, hasn't paid herself since December and says she's dipped into her own savings to pay her staff.
I take huge responsibility for the fact that I have 15 people who depend on me for their living. And that's something that I take very seriously, and I think that that's what's missing in large business.
Experts say small business owners have little choice. They don't have much fat to trim.
Small business owners really get to know each and every one of their employees. They live with them and work with them. So it's much different than a big business where everybody is more anonymous. Certainly as you get past, say, a particular department.
Here you go, sweetheart.
Of course, both Hagley and Gemolero would like some government help, but both say they would never accept a bailout. What do they want? For the banks to start lending again, so they can make payroll and still manage to bring home a paycheck.
How often have you heard that? The Obama administration says it has a substantial program in place to get the banks to lend money again, but it hasn't happened yet. Carol Costello, CNN, Washington.
Tough times mean difficult decisions. Do you think you'd make the same call as those small business owners? If you had built up your own company and employed dozens of people, would you be willing to take a pay cut so that they could keep their jobs? Head to our blog at cnnstudentnews.com. Share your thoughts.
Time for the shout out. What type of government does China have? If you think you know it, shout it out. Is it a parliamentary democracy, a federal republic, a constitutional monarchy, or a communist state? You've got 3 seconds. Go! China has been a communist state for nearly 60 years. That's your answer, and that's your shout out.
This probably isn't how you're used to seeing CNN Student News, but it is how millions of people watch and post online videos through YouTube. Try logging onto that site in China right now and you won't see anything at all. Some say the interruption is intentional, a decision made by the country's communist government. Emily Chang downloads the details.
YouTube, the popular website where users can upload, watch, and share videos, has suddenly become inaccessible in China. We're at a cafe in Beijing, so let's give it a try. YouTube.com. And then you get an error message. The connection has timed out. The server at YouTube.com is taking too long to respond. A spokesperson from YouTube owner Google said, "We do not know the reason for the blockage, and we are working as quickly as possible to restore access to our users." Analysts say this is the latest in the cat-and-mouse game between the Chinese government and the internet. But why now? Now, there's speculation the Chinese government may have blocked YouTube because of politically sensitive video released by a Tibetan exile group. The group claims the video was shot last year and shows Chinese authorities beating Tibetans, but CNN has not been able to independently verify that.
You never exactly know what is behind, which fingerprints are on which regulatory measure, but probably Tibet.
It's not the first time users in China have been unable to access the site. Last March, YouTube was blocked during riots in Tibet.
On YouTube, we tend to describe it as, the government says, WeTube, not YouTube. The government basically is used in traditional media to controlling what people see. And they don't really accept the fact that technology means they can no longer do that.
China has routinely blocked websites it considers politically unacceptable, including the BBC and Voice of America. The government has also blacked out TV broadcasts of the BBC and CNN during coverage of issues like Tibet and Taiwan. But recently, CNN hasn't experienced any interruptions. The Chinese government hasn't confirmed it has indeed blocked YouTube, but in response to questions, said China is not afraid of the internet. We manage the internet according to law to prevent the spread of harmful information. If YouTube is being managed by the Chinese government, there's no indication of if or when the site will be available in China again. Emily Chang, CNN, Beijing.
Well, before we go, we want you to see one toddler's big break. There it is. Keith Odell isn't even 2 years old. He's not even 2, and he's racking them up like a pro. Little guy spends a couple hours a day at the pool table, and his parents, who met at a pool hall, go figure, say as long as the kid's having fun, they don't plan to pry him away. If you think you could take on the 2-year-old terror, you better beware, because you might wind up behind the 8 ball. Woo! That's our cue to leave. You guys have a great day.